History. It is Tuesday, December 1st, 2020. Today, we are on the 16th lesson of Unit 2, learning about the fall of the Aztec, and our lesson objective is I can describe what led to the fall of the Aztec Empire. Again, we're still looking at North America. We're still looking at the Aztecs located here in Mexico. And yesterday we were looking at how the Aztecs gained, consolidated, and maintained power. Today we're going to look at how the Aztecs lost power. That just as a little reminder, lost means that they no longer have the power. So, a gentle reminder as to how the Aztecs gained, maintained, and consolidated power was through taxes. They had a variety of taxes, whether it was actual goods or services that people had to provide to the government. They had religion, and they used human sacrifice as a way to exert power over their people. They had a government structure where central government was making like the really big decisions, but there was like a government structure in the other cities that sort of kept those cities under control. And there was also this military that helped them conquer areas, keep people in line, and it was also related to taxes as well. These are all interrelated. And I want us to sort of think about and reflect on yesterday's lesson and sort of ask ourselves, which you will answer this question in the pod, is like, were all of these forms of gaining, maintaining, and consolidating power fair? Just something to start to think about. So what led to the fall of the Aztec? There's really three main reasons in like what really led to the fall that I'm going to suggest to you now. One being that when the Spanish arrived, they had weapons, they had guns, they had horses. Horses are not weapons, they're animals. They had dogs, which dogs, help in like finding people, so on and so forth. So they had technology, but then they also had, animals that helped them get around. The Aztec leadership was ineffective, which this is kind of hinting at what I was saying earlier, like some issues within Aztec leadership. And last but not least, smallpox, a disease, a virus that the Aztec had never been in touch with. And I want to just go over this idea of conquistadors. And a conquistador is defined as a conqueror, especially one of the Spanish conquerors of Mexico and Peru in the 16th century. And the conquistador that we're going to really learn a lot about today is this guy, Hernan Cortez, who was from Spain, and he was the conquistador who was really responsible for the fall of the Aztec Empire. And, through this definition, we learn that they're Spanish conquerors of Mexico and Peru. Well, the Inca were located in Peru. So conquistadors are going to come up again in this study. And basically, long story short, the Spanish besieged or surrounded by armed forces aiming to capture a place or surrender it. The Spanish besieged Tenochtitlan. And we're going to learn how they actually were able to go about surrounding the island of Tenochtitlan and, taking over. And I just want to point out, like, for those of you who play video games, there is a video game called Besiege that is like literally about like surrounding and taking over places. So we're going to start off today by just going over a couple of things from yesterday's lesson. I've linked the Padlet if you need to refer back to it. And then we're going to really like pick apart the fall of the Aztec Empire. So we are doing the historical context of the fall of the Aztec Empire. So we're now on step number 2. You should all head to this pod.